On March 4, 2025, Germany cut off aid to Rwanda, following the Trump's administration's sanctions just 12 days earlier. This rare moment of transatlantic unity sent shockwaves through African capitals. But what's truly surprising isn't the sanctions themselves, it's what they reveal about a web of deception hiding in plain sight for years. In the next few minutes, I will show you evidence so compelling that it forced both Trump administration and Germany to act against one of the West's most trusted partners in Africa. Why will Western countries continue funding a country they know it's fueling Africa's deadliest conflict? The answer reveals a disturbing truth about how the world really works. And stick around, because later I will reveal why experts believe Rwanda is making the same mistake that led to France's humiliating expulsion from West Africa. Let me break down what's happening. In eastern Congo, the M23 rebels have seized large areas that are one of the world's richest areas in minerals in just a matter of days. Behind them is standing Rwanda, a country that is just 1/40th the size of Congo, yet it is exporting over $1 billion of minerals it doesn't possess. For years, Europe looked the other way. They were even signing mineral deals with Rwanda while their own parliament voted against it. Just listen to this video.
Rwanda invades Congo and us, the European Union. We send arms to Rwanda. Rwanda steals Congolese resources, and we go to Rwanda and sign deals to ensure stable mineral supplies to Europe in order to buy cheap stolen resource from Congo. That is simply what has happened. 2 months after this mineral deal we signed with Rwanda, the M23 backed by Rwanda seized the largest coltan mine in Congo. The EU has simply given a green light for Rwanda to do whatever it wants to do in Congo. Europe has simply put itself on the side of the aggressor. We have seen this with gold in Mali, uranium in Niger, and petroleum in Libya. And after this, y'all will wonder why the people of the South are complaining. Africans have had enough. The time of colonialism is over. Let's suspend this deal with Rwanda.
On February 2024, the EU made a deal with Rwanda to secure mineral supplies to Europe. On the 21st of February 2025, the Trump administration imposed sanctions on Rwanda. On the 25th of February 2025, the UK suspends aid to Rwanda. On the 4th of March 2025, Germany suspends aid. But then the real story begins much more earlier. Congo holds the world's richest deposits of cobalt, coltan, and other minerals essential for smartphones, electric vehicles, and military technology. Now take a moment, look at your smartphone. Inside are minerals that likely originated from Congo, potentially passed through Rwanda, and may have directly funded this conflict we're talking about. Now think about that. In a moment, I'm going to show you evidence that finally forced Western nations to act. The evidence against Rwanda is overwhelming, and it goes far beyond circumstantial. UN experts have documented between 3,000 and 4,000 Rwandan troops fighting alongside M23 in Congo. But here is what makes this especially disturbing. Rwanda has supplied M23 with an arsenal that no rebel group should possess. Artillery-based air defense systems, armed attack drones, guided heavy mortar bombs. Now these materials are so huge and bulky. And to understand this, Rwanda is a landlocked country and so has no access to the sea. So any huge material that is coming into Rwanda through ship must pass through other neighboring countries. It's very impossible that the M23 imports heavy artillery like this through ports passing through Kenya or Tanzania or washed through Congo. It therefore means that for it to carry this type of heavy weaponry, a legitimate nation should have assisted it. And when you look at all these nations within this region, the only nations that only benefit from the war is Rwanda. It's only Rwanda within this area whose sales of raw materials, of minerals, went up by more than 700% when the M23 started. Military experts were stunned by the sophistication of M23 military weapons. This isn't just support, it is direct control. According to multiple sources, Rwanda's military forces are frequently present at M23 training camps and are in the de facto control of M23 operations. But the smoking gun comes from Rwanda's mineral trade itself. Rwanda's mineral exports tell a story that is impossible to ignore. Tantalum exports jumped 755% in recent years. Gold exports increased by 755% in 2019. The total mineral exports jumped to $1.1 billion in 2023, all while Rwanda has virtually no domestic production of most of these minerals. The DRC's finance minister stated they are losing almost $1 billion annually to mineral smuggling through Rwanda. Notice anything? The areas occupied by the M23 perfectly overlaps with Congo's richest mineral regions. Now, at one moment, I made a video, I think about 2 weeks ago, where one person, I think it was one of these M23 guys, he came and made a comment under this video, one of my videos, the video I made, that we're only talking about minerals, that people are going after minerals. What about the people, that those people are also Congolese people? Now, I told him, I replied to that message, that where in Africa have people not migrated? Now, we have several examples. I'm just going to take some few examples, and this I'm going to take them from my own country. In Cameroon, we have the Doualas, the Sawa people. The Sawa people migrated from Egypt. Now, when we talk about Egypt today, many people think about the people that we know about different people staying in Egypt, but the Douala people migrated from Egypt. But now, this is not about Egypt. I'm giving an example to Cameroon, right? The Douala people migrated from Egypt and they live in Cameroon. The fact that they migrated from Egypt doesn't mean that they are not Cameroonians. They are Cameroonians and they live in Cameroon in peace. Another example, my own tribe, the Tikaris, we migrated from the north of Cameroon. Now, we are somewhere around the northwest of Cameroon right now. We have been there for hundreds of years. So this issue isn't about the people who migrated from one place to another, because Kagame is trying to say that he is protecting Rwandans that migrated from Rwanda that are settling in Congo. But then we are seeing migration everywhere in Africa. Why are other presidents from other places? Why has the Egyptian president not come today that he wants to that he wants to protect the Douala people in Cameroon? Why have the northern Nigerian governor not left and come and said that he wants to protect the Tikari because they migrated from Nigeria? Why? This is all about minerals. It's about minerals, Kagame. It's about minerals. That's the main thing. It's about minerals. And this leads us to a very disturbing question. If the evidence is so clear, why did it take until 2025 for Western governments to act? The answer reveals something shocking about global power priorities. In February 2024, the European Union signed a deal securing minerals from Rwanda, worth over 900 million euros. Let that sink in. The EU Parliament later voted to suspend the deal due to the connection of Rwanda with conflict minerals. Yet the European Commission went ahead anyway. Ask yourself, why would the EU maintain this deal, knowing these minerals are stained with Congolese blood? The answer reveals a disturbing reality about global power. The green energy transition alone will require more than 500% increase in some minerals by 2050. Even as Germany suspends aid to Rwanda, the EU continues buying minerals from Rwanda. Minerals Rwanda couldn't have possibly mined itself. Now, this creates a perfect storm. Political condemnation on one hand, economic support on the other hand. And what Poland did next made the situation even much more volatile. In February 2025, Poland signed agreements to provide Rwanda with advanced military technology, including drones and anti-drone systems. This wasn't just any military deal. It included precisely the kind of technology that Rwanda has been supplying to M23 rebels. One European country provides Rwanda with sanctions, while another European country arms it. But why would Poland do this? Poland gets minerals, Rwanda gets weapons, M23 gets support, and Congo bleeds. In 2022, EU imports from Congo was 3 billion euros. In 2023, Rwanda's mineral exports was 1.06 billion euros. But there is another layer that finally explains why the Trump administration and Germany finally took action. Now let's examine what finally pushed the West to take action. On February 21, 2025, the Trump administration took the lead by imposing sanctions on Rwanda, a move that surprised many observers. A few days later, the UK suspended aid, and Germany followed on March 4th the same year, creating a rare moment of transatlantic unity. This isn't just about humanitarian concerns, it's about the Western powers learning hard lessons from what happened in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, where France was completely expelled after decades of influence. Just within this year, 7,000 plus unalived since January, 400,000 people displaced in days, entire regions under rebel control. What truly forced Trump's hands, followed by Germany's, was concrete evidence that minerals flowing into Western supply chains are directly financing this conflict. The UN verified that M23 controlled mines in Congo are sending minerals to Rwanda, where they are relabeled as Rwandan before entering global markets. If Western powers have known this for years, why act now? Recent dynamics power shift in Africa has made the Western powers to think twice. The answer to this question reveals a desperate attempt to avoid repeating France's catastrophic loss of influence in the Sahel. France's complete ejection from Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger wasn't just a diplomatic embarrassment. It was a strategic disaster that cut off access of uranium, gold, and other critical resources. Western powers are now asking themselves, are we seeing the beginning of the same pattern in Central Africa? Germany's and Trump's sanctions against Rwanda aren't happening in isolation. They are part of a seismic shift across Africa that's challenging external interference. While Rwanda supports rebels to exploit Congo's mineral wealth, something equally significant has already happened in West Africa. In Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, military leaders seized power and explicitly rejected Western interference, forcing France to withdraw completely after decades of presence. Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso emerged as the symbolic leader of this resistance, directly challenging foreign powers trying to control African resources. Here's the crucial lesson. Countries far more powerful than Rwanda have tried and failed to maintain dominance over countries through military force and proxy warfare. Rwanda is making the same mistake that France made in the Sahel, believing military dominance can secure long-term resource control. History suggests this strategy ultimately fails. And this is precisely why Germany and Trump's sanctions matter. They signal that even Rwanda's backers recognize that this approach is unsustainable. Think about it. If France, with all its military strength and historical influence, couldn't maintain control in the Sahel, what makes Rwanda think it can succeed in Congo? In the past, we have seen all types of control strategies that have failed. Colonial direct control failed. Post-colonial military presence failed. Proxy warfare through rebel groups have failed. Economic cohesion has failed. Ask yourself, Are we witnessing Rwanda's last desperate attempts at resource theft before African sovereignty prevails, just as it did in the Sahel? This is why these sanctions are sending shockwaves across Africa. They suggest Western powers may finally be recognizing that military approaches to controlling African resources are doomed to fail. With this wider African context in mind, let's examine the strategic implications going forward. So what happens next? There are two potential scenarios. The first scenario, other European countries will follow Trump, Germany and the UK in creating a domino effect across both East and West Africa. That is, as concerns sanctions on Rwanda, putting more pressure on Rwanda to cut the umbilical cord it has with M23 rebels in Congo. The second scenario, the EU might continue mineral purchases while making symbolic gestures, strengthening the arguments of leaders like Ibrahim Traoré. What we are witnessing isn't isolated to Rwanda and Congo. It's part of a continent-wide renegotiation of who really controls Africa's mineral resources. The fundamental question is the same: who benefits from Africa's wealth? This isn't just about Africa, it's about the contradiction of how wealthy nations approach resources they desperately need. Whether through Rwanda's proxy war strategy or despite the direct resistance of leaders like Ibrahim Traoré. The minerals in your smartphone may have funded conflict in Congo, just as uranium from Niger powers European homes. Germany's Rwanda decision represents a potential turning point for all of Africa. Will these sanctions actually change Rwanda's behavior, or will they simply push Rwanda to change business partners and sell these minerals to China, which isn't as strict about knowing how these resources are obtained? Geopolitical scenarios are often incredibly complex, with multiple layers of motivation, historical context, and economic interest intersecting in ways that defy simple solutions. Is Germany's sanction a genuine ethical stand, or just a strategic move in a larger game? And are we witnessing the beginning of the end for external control of African resources, whether through Western or Eastern powers? If you want to understand how these global power moves reshape Africa and affect your daily life, drop your comments, subscribe to this channel, and join our strategic community where we cut through the noise and go beyond the headlines. My name is Sanctions Rwanda. I'll see you in my next video. Ciao.